Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Navadeva Mahi Subhadra Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Navadeva Mahi Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivadhanacharya Stotram Samvaya Sabhaicharanam Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivadhanacharya Stotram Samvaya Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Iskar BPT Parashila Prabhupada Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to Shishi Guru and Golanga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiriye.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhattadeshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhakti Bhagavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki.
Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki.
Jai.
Which one? 25. Canto 1, Chapter 9, text number 25. The passing away of Bhishmadev. Sutta Uvacha.
Sutta Uvacha.
Yudhishthira Stadakam Akarnyai.
Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya.
Yudhishthira Stadakarnyai.
Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya.
Shayanam Sharapran Panjare.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Aprachar Vividan Dharman.
Aprichat Vividha Dharma.
Rishinam Chanusnirvatam.
Rishinam Chanushvatam.
Sutta Vacha.
Sutta Vacha.
Yudhishthira Stadakarnya.
Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Aprachad Vividan Dharman.
Aprichat Vividha Dharma.
Rishinam Chanusnirvatam.
Rishinam Chanushrunvatam.
Sutta Vacha.
Sutta Vacha.
Yudhishthira Stadakarnya.
Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Aprachad Vividan Dharman.
Aprichat Vividhan Dharman.
Rishinam Chanusnirvatam.
Rishinam Chanushrunvatam. Sutta Vacha. Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya. Shayanam Sharapanjare. Aprachat Vividhan Dharman. Rishinam Chanushrunvatam.
Sutta Vacha.
Sutta Vacha.
Yudhishthira Stadakarnya.
Yudhishthira Stad Akarnya.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Shayanam Sharapanjare.
Aprichat Vividhan Dharman.
Aprachat Vividhan Dharman.
Rishinam Chanushrunvatam.
Rishinam Chanushrunvatam.
Sutta Vacha. Sutta Goswami said, Yudhishthira, King Yudhishthira, Tat, that, Akarnya, hearing, Shayanam, lying down, Sharapanjali, on the bed of arrows, Aprachat, asked, Vividan, multifarious, Dharma, duties, Rishinam, of the rishis, Cha, and Anushrimadbhagavatam, hearing after. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhishmadev spoke in the appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all the great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. Please repeat. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhishmadev, speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all
in the presence of all
the great rishis
the great rishis
about the essential principles
about the essential principles
of various religious duties.
of various religious duties.
Purport. Bhishma Dev, speaking in that appealing tone, convinced Maharaj Yudhishthira that he was soon passing away. And Maharaj Yudhishthira was inspired by Lord Krishna to ask him of the principles of religion. Lord Shri Krishna inspired Maharaj Yudhishthira to ask Bhishma Dev in the presence of many great sages, indicating thereby that the Lord's devotees like Bhishma Dev, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. Another point is that Bhishma Dev at the time was not only lying on a deathbed of arrows, but was greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time, but Lord Shri Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment. And thus, in any circumstance, the devotee of the Lord is in perfect order to speak the right way of life. Yudhishthira also preferred to solve his problematic questions by asking Bhishma Dev rather than asking anyone else present there who was seemingly more learned than Bhishma Dev. This is all due to the arrangement of the great wheel carrier, Lord Krishna, who establishes the glories of his devotees. The father likes to see his son become more famous than himself. The Lord declares very emphatically that worship of his devotees is more valuable than worship of the Lord himself. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dharati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Diyamano Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Putraya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Sri Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhishma Dev speak in that appealing tone, asked him, in the presence of all the great rishis, about the essential principles of various religious duties. So Bhishma Dev was speaking in this appealing tone. We know Yudhishthira Maharaj, after concluding the battle in Kurukshetra, was feeling quite depressed because so many people have lost their lives, and he felt this great guilt that, in order to put me on the throne, so many people had died. And Bhishma Dev, being the great well-wisher of the Pandavas, had a very soft place in his heart for the Pandavas. Though he fought against them in the battle, we'll see in the later part of this chapter a very nice discussion that actually he did so only to expand the glories of his beloved Lord. But Bhishma Dev began to speak in a way to ease the pain of the Pandavas, particularly Yudhishthira Maharaj. And he explains that, wow, you have gone through so many evil actions. You have endured unbearable pain. Your mother, Queen Kunti, has not only endured the loss of her husband, and now is in a widowed state, but then has had to withstand and experience all the pains and tribulations of this. So we see that Bhishma Dev is demonstrating, a very nice Vaishnava quality. Is that a Vaishnava knows how to speak in a way that is soothing to the hearer. A Vaishnava does not speak in a way that gives pain to anyone. I think we've talked in the past about this, ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence. But we conduct more violence, not with our hands, but with our tongue. Because if we speak, in some sharp way, that pain is much more than the pain of a slap that we might inflict with our hands. So Bhishma Dev here is speaking in this appealing tone. Prabhupada writes the word appealing tone, meaning it's in a way that is very, attractive and soothing. And this is the Vaishnava way, that when we speak, we should speak in a way that is appealing. Now, Bhishma Dev's glories are virtually unlimited. We see that Krishna inspired the Pandavas to approach Bhishma Dev. And it's quite an extraordinary situation because all the great rishis and munis had assembled there to see Bhishma Dev. And so in the assembly of great devotees, he who speaks first is considered to be the most learned or knowledgeable. So Krishna was glorifying Bhishma Dev through the action of having Yudhishthira Maharaj approach Bhishma Dev. Now, that in and of itself is extraordinary, right? That in this great assembly, Bhishma Dev was the one that was going to cure the pain in the heart of the Pandavas. But what's more extraordinary, that Bhishma Dev is speaking in this appealing tone. We've all had experience. When we are very hungry, and then somebody, says even the slightest thing to us that's maybe not how we respond, we become very agitated. Or if we are very tired, and somebody speaks even in a neutral way, we'll take it in a negative because we are unsettled, right? If we, have, experienced some great distress, maybe got some bad news and are lamenting, and then somebody comes and speaks to us, right? So with the slight, even if the temperature is just a few degrees too warm, so we become easily agitated, right? Our consciousness agitates. And that agitation is revealed when we speak. Right? Prabhupada says that a fool reveals himself when he speaks. He may be very well dressed and look very learned, but when he speaks, he reveals himself. So similarly, when we speak, we reveal ourselves. We may, think that we have, controlled our senses and have become very dhiras, sober. But that is revealed in these states of agitation. So what is Bhishma Dev's state? Right? He is lying not on the top of arrows, but these arrows have completely penetrated his body. We get one needle prick in our finger, we'll feel it for 2-3 days. When the hole is made, we'll feel it for a few days. But Bhishma Dev has hundreds of holes through his body, still there, and in that state, he is speaking in an appealing tone. Wow, this is the Vaishnava quality. That even in that, Prabhupada says that he should not have been approached. It is not the time to ask him questions, right? It is not the time, because he's going through a very difficult condition. But this is the glories of Bhishma Dev. And this happens because when one comes to devotional service, Jai Shri Radha, Jai Shri Radha, a pure devotee has transcended the modes of material nature. Right? And we see this in different experiences, right? Like, how does Durvasa Muni react? With the slightest agitation, what happens? Very strong response, very aggressive response, right? We see, great munis, and this is not to minimize others, but this is to show the greatness of Bhishma Dev. Vishwamata Muni, right? When Manaka came to disturb his penance at the inspiration of Lord Indra, he became disturbed. But Bhishma Dev, in this most disturbing of circumstances, this is a sign of devotion. Because Krishna says, is Mam Chayo Vibhacharena Bhakti Yogena Sevata Sadhuna Samitityaita. That sadhuna, all these gunas, one transcends. When? When one is unfailingly engaged in constant devotional service. Because when one is fully in devotional service, their consciousness is not on the bodily platform. So how one can lie in a bed of arrows and be very poised, it is not some magic. It is not some astasiddhi that one has developed. It is because one's consciousness has completely left the bodily platform and has gone to the spiritual platform. Though they are within the body, they don't perceive the experiences of the body in their consciousness, because they are only perceiving Spirit, Krishna, and the relationship with the Lord. And that perception is so fixed. When we are chanting our japa and we are engaging in devotional service, how easy is it for our mind to go back to the bodily platform, to become distracted? Oh, my knee hurts. Oh, I'm feeling hungry. Oh, I'm feeling sleepy. Oh, I think I want to eat samosa today. Oh, this would be a nice experience today. Maybe I'll go. In an instant, our mind leaves the spiritual platform and goes back to the bodily platform. But the great devotee, they remain transcendent. Why? Because they're unfailing. So Krishna says in this 14th chapter verse that one must be unfailing in a devotional service. Because as soon as we are not thinking of Krishna, I'm coming back to the bodily platform. I only have two choices. One or the other. So, the evidence we have of Bhishma Dev's state is how he is able to, in this very torturous bodily condition, remain very steady, dhira, sober, and speak even in an appealing tone. Right? How we would be speaking in this state. He's telling Yudhishthira Maharaj that it's inconceivable, right? Bhishma Dev is feeling the pain of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Right? He is saying, oh, Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling so much pain having gone through this battle. He is thinking of the others in his own condition of severe pain. When we are very hungry, are we focused on the hunger of others? We're only focused on solving our hunger. But what is the Vaishnava quality Bhishma Dev is showing? That even in that elevated state, he is thinking of others. This is the inconceivable, transcendental quality of Bhishma Dev. So sweet and powerful. Now we know why Krishna chose to bring the Pandavas to Bhishma Dev. It was not just, some gratuitous reciprocation. Because Bhishma Dev's position is extraordinary. And Prabhupada writes, I don't know if he meant this or not, but I was struck. He says that this is all due to the arrangement of the great wheel carrier, Lord Shri Krishna. This Bhishma Dev making Krishna carry the wheel is the further glorification of Bhishma Dev's position. Because we know Krishna picked up the wheel to attack Bhishma Dev. Now, wait a minute. Why Krishna is attacking his devotee? That doesn't sound like, Bhishma Dev is responding and playing a devotional mood. Krishna kills demons. He protects his devotees. Paritanaya sadhunam. He protects his devotees. So what is this? This is some confusion. No, as we know, and again this will become evident later in this chapter, that Bhishma Dev knows that Krishna will do anything for his devotees. So to show this in proof, he attacked Arjuna so that Krishna would break his word by picking up a weapon and attacking Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev wanted to show to the world that Krishna will give up his own word to protect his devotees. This is how great my Krishna is. And of course, we'll see later in this chapter, Bhishma Dev wanted to see this darshan of Krishna in an angry state, attacking state. To him it was most glorious. But this wheel carrying of Krishna, again, is another indication of Bhishma Dev's great position in devotional service. And Prabhupada writes, Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment. And thus, in any circumstance, a devotee Lord is perfect to speak of the right way of life. And, I was watching on Saturday this, last pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. Every disappearance day, I watched this video, this movie. You might have seen these, following Srila Prabhupada and all the live footage of Srila Prabhupada, and the different devotees are giving commentary. It's an extraordinary compilation. If you have not seen it, there are like 10, 12 DVDs, 100 hours of live footage of Srila Prabhupada from the very early days to his final pastime. And it's very inspiring. But on disappearance day, I like to watch this. On one hand, it's very painful to see. But on the other hand, I just was seeing, Srila Prabhupada is lying on his bed, the same bed that is there in Vrindavan still to this day, that he left 48 years ago. And his body it's actually hard to see. It's so emaciated. It's just literally skin clinging on bones. He has not eaten in basically months. He's just taking a few drops of charnamrit, maybe some juice. And in that condition, he is translating Shrimadbhagavatam. He is giving purports. How one in such a condition can be coherent to give this highest philosophy in his purports. And it's only because, again, a pure devotee is completely separated from the body. And Srila Prabhupada exhibits this unbelievable mood by, as Prabhupada writes himself, by dint of spiritual enlightenment. In that state, he was speaking in such a coherent way. And then, he calls for his godbrothers to come. And there, he begs forgiveness from them, for preaching aggressively. How much we can say misaction some of his godbrothers did against Prabhupada? Unthinkable, unbearable actually. I cannot even articulate it. Unbearable things they did to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada did not remember that. In his most treacherous condition, materially speaking, what he did, he was begging forgiveness. And his godbrothers were like, Prabhupada, how you can beg forgiveness from us? What offense you could have performed? You have fulfilled the order of our spiritual master better than anyone. But when one is in a Vaishnava quality, when one is in pure devotional service, these qualities manifest. That in the midst of disturbing situations, they are undisturbed. Understand? In the midst of disturbing situations, they are undisturbed. This is the test of one's progress in devotional service. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, of course, is an illustrious passer of this test. And of course, our beloved Srila Prabhupada underwent extraordinary challenges and remained completely fixed in consciousness. So, for us, next time we get agitated in our speech, we can think back and say, Bhishma Dev had arrows piercing his body, and he spoke very sweetly. Even though I'm very hungry, or tired, or hot, or this, or that, maybe I can also speak nicely. So we can meditate on Bhishma Dev's appealing tones, his consideration of others' difficulty above and beyond his own. Even though the other's difficulty was less severe than his own, his focus was on their difficulty, not his own. And of course, for this reason, the Lord emphatically declares, Prabhupada writes, that worship of his devotees is more valuable than worship of the Lord himself. We may cook for the Lord, we may dress the Lord, we may sing the Lord. But if we don't love and at least respect and worship his devotees, what value we are getting from that service? What value are we getting? Because Krishna says here, it's more, Prabhupada writes, more valuable to worship his devotees than to Krishna. So, nice opportunity for us to meditate on some of these qualities and try to imbibe them in our spiritual life. Bhishma Dev Mahajan ki, Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Discussion? I ended early so we could have some discussion.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's very nice class, like how Bhishma Deva has shown Vaishnava etiquette and how a perfect Vaishnava behaves in whatever the situation it is. He does not lose his humility and character.
Yes. Thank you.
Also, isn't like the way of speaking and the way of approach is relative according to time and situation, right? Like the mannerism we hear when in reading Mahabharata, and those times they had different kinds of manners, and now we kind of don't feel that kind of manners having around in the world. We are having different kind of etiquettes.
Well, yes, but our Vedic principles are eternal. Though the rest of society is not following this way, we should follow. See, we are not following. The problem in our approach is that we do only if someone else does. I will be nice to you if you are nice to me. I will respect you if you respect me. But we chant every day, Ashri seva paramritam panashtu mama darshan maramatam kurotu ba yatha tata va viraratam tatova. Unconditional love. Oh no, you're talking about unconditional love of Krishna. If I cannot have unconditional relationships with people in devotees, how I have hope to have unconditional love of Krishna? So, our speaking and mannerisms should follow Bhishma Dev to full. Though, because of the contaminated state of Kali Yuga, others may not reciprocate. No problem. I always make this comment when this point comes. My father would always tell me, if a dog barks to you, are you going to bark back? No. So someone may speak harshly, someone may speak this, that, great. But I am trying to be on a different platform. So don't condition our approach based on others. Condition our approach based on what is our goal. To act in a Vaishnava way. And acting in a Vaishnava way means that we don't put considerations on how we treat somebody. I'll treat so-and-so nicely because they treat me nicely. But this person I'm going to treat badly because they treat me badly. Then what we are gaining? We are the losers. And actually Krishna, when He really blesses us, you know what He does? He brings people into our life who give us a hard time. He does. He brings people into our life that, because it's easy when everybody just glorifies you and says, oh, Prabhuji Mother, you're so amazing, and this and that, and life is easy. But then no purification happens. Because what happens, we become attached to that glory. We're not attached to Krishna's glory, we're attached to our own glory. So when Krishna really loves us, He brings devotees into our life that we don't get along with. Because we have to detach from this conditional reciprocation, conditional speaking. And we should see, no, this is Vaishnava. I should speak in a way. No, but they're doing that. We are not the judge for Krishna of who is devotee, who is not. Uttamadhikari sees everybody as pure devotee. They see everyone as pure devotee. That is the highest Vaishnava quality. So our circumstance never forsakes us to speak in a non-Vaishnava way. You may have a role, when you are in management. Maybe you have to, correct somebody, guide somebody. In those circumstances, you may have to, in that role, like Prabhupada says, that, a businessman has to tell lies. Oh, I'm giving you a big discount, I'm making no profit on this, but okay, take it. That is part of the... So there are those circumstances, but those are rare and far and few between. Our focus should be not on those circumstances, but on the circumstance of my day-to-day interactions. And don't stop this, and again, it's natural. We all do it, right? We do yeta mam prabhadyante. We reciprocate according to how someone reciprocates to us. But that is not our position. Our position is to show love. And let me tell you that when you show love through your words and actions to someone who is not necessarily treating you so well, you know who becomes most pleased by that action? Krishna. Because Krishna sees my child is tolerating another child of mine who's not behaving nicely. And instead of slapping that child, this child is tolerating. How much that would please Krishna? Any parent who has multiple children know, when one child is tolerating and just being, more generous. That child pleases mother and father so much. So we may think, I'm not letting this person walk all over me. I'm not letting this person talk to me. When we do that, we lose. Because when we let that person speak however they like to us, and we don't reciprocate, who is the winner? Not them. We are the winner. Because we are winning in Krishna's book. Do we want to win in Krishna's book, or we want to win in this other person's book? It's very simple, but not easy. Not easy. Because it takes great restraint, great discipline. And so, our impeccable sadhana is what will bring out these qualities. But this is the natural quality of the spirit soul. So our opportunity to speak, and of course, while we're emphasizing speaking, we should be very careful not to speak one thing and do another. Do not be duplicitous with our actions. We speak in a very humble way. Oh, please accept my humble obeisances. How are you? And then on the backside, we do all kinds of nonsense. Because that person may not see the nonsense. But who is seeing?
Krishna.
Krishna knows. So we should speak in a way that is intellectually honest. So that is our opportunity. And when we find difficulty in that, we pray to Krishna. Krishna, give me the strength to control this uncontrollable tongue. That's why we chant, our prasadam prayer. What Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, this tongue is most voracious of all. It is most difficult to control. So thank you, my Lord, for giving us this prasadam to help us conquer this tongue and senses, which are a network of paths leading to death. Okay.
And also, I remember one point, Prabhu, glorifying publicly and chastising privately. Like if something has happened, like if you want to say something to other person, if you feel that person has done something wrong, you better convey it in a private place, and so that it will be. And also that also not in harsh tone, but in a general tone.
I can add another dimension. Glorification, we should do instantly. If we are going to speak something I'm not happy, you wait. Give some time. After time has passed, if you still feel you must say it, then say it. But don't speak in the heat of the moment, because our mind is not processing everything properly. We are emotional, right? So just wait. Give it a few days. And two things happen. When you speak to somebody after several days, it gives that person also understand this is important, right? Like, okay, this happened a week ago, and now we're discussing it. Okay, there must be something significant. Whereas if we speak in heat, oh, you're just agitated. So, point Prabhuji made nicely, we do in a very confidential, private way. And also we let some time elapse, because then we really test our mood. Should it be said? There are times where something should be said, right? There are times. But by letting time elapse, We let our intelligence dictate that and not our mind. We let our intelligence decide whether something should be adjusted or not.
And also, I would like to add another point, like, I heard in a lecture, bro, like, in Vaishnava Sadachara, lecture series, so there are 3 filters to be applied while you are talking. Like, the first filter is like, are you speaking the truth? And the next one is it necessary to speak at that moment? And the third thing is like, is that beneficial to others?
Yeah.
That talk.
That's the... Is it beneficial to others is always the difficult one for us to assess.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, I have to correct them. I want to help them. Well, is our intention really to help? Or is our intention to settle our own misgivings? That third assessment is, we have to be very clear and proper in our assessment so that we don't misuse it. Anything else? Kantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Hare Krishna.